Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Down Under, and for the first time today I want to devote an entire video to a single issue that's just released in the last 24 hours, which is Batman 3 Jokers issue 1. Now, in the second part of this video I'm going to flip through digitally and take a look at some of the panels, discuss my ideas about the story, give a bit of a review of the issue, and talk about some of the background of it, and there will be big time spoilers, okay? And if you want to jump straight to that part of the video, I will leave a timestamp in the description below, so you can head straight over there to hear my thoughts, have a look at some of the art, things like that. But I thought before we did that, I would just take a quick look at some of the recommended reading that you could do before starting the Three Jokers storyline. Now, like all good comics, you can jump straight into Three Jokers and not have read anything else before. It's been written in such a way that you get the basic gist of all of the characters' backstories in the first, say, 20 pages, and it's written well so that it's seamlessly integrated into the story and it feels natural and that it's catching you up without it actually hindering the progress of the story at all. But also, like all comics, and especially DC in particular and Geoff Johns' work, if you have done the reading beforehand and you're really well caught up with the other stories that lead into this one, there's so many little hidden bits and pieces in there that you'll catch on to, and it just really enhances the experience for you. So it's really up to you. If you're like just recently jumping into comics and you picking up some new stories, you can jump straight into Batman 3 Jokers issue 1, no problems at all. You'll pick up what's happening, you'll enjoy it, you'll enjoy the fantastic art. It's Geoff Johns, so the storytelling is done really well and he understands the characters really well and their voices seem authentic and they match the characters as they have been presented continuously throughout DC Comics history. But if you really want the full experience, you can also read some of these stories and it will give you a bit of background. So I'm just going to quickly talk about each one of these. I'm not going to flip through and review these books. If you wanted to see any overviews of any of these books, shout at me in the comments and I can consider it for the future. But anyway, the first place that we actually saw mention of the Three Jokers storyline itself was in Justice League Darkseid War, coming out of the New 52. So inside this book is where Batman's seated on the Mobius chair and he first discovers that there are three Jokers out there. I'll see if I can find, no, I'm not going to try and find it, but if you haven't read this story, you're getting Fabok art in here, and just having a quick flip through, you can see some of the quality here of what you're going to get in Three Jokers. Fabok does some of the best art in the business, okay? So this is the kind of quality of artwork you're going to get with the storyline. If you haven't read this story before, there's a little bit of reading you would need to do in the New 52 to really get what's going on, but definitely worth it. It's another Geoff Johns book, and Geoff Johns, if anyone except perhaps maybe Grant Morrison, understands the DC universe and the characters the best. Now, this was continued then after the conclusion of Darkseid War into DC Rebirth. I have the single issue of this, one of like two single issues that I own in my collection, this and Action Comics 1000. And this is where Geoff Johns basically relaunches the DC universe. And in here, we get Batman considering the Three Jokers theory. And we can see that there on that page. And he's really trying to nut out what he figured out on the Mobius chair. This book basically was a relaunch of the DC universe that happened back in 2016. Some great titles spun out of Rebirth, and it sort of culminated with Doomsday Clock. But Geoff Johns' vision for the DC universe wasn't really fully realized at all. It ended up sort of getting changed and manipulated by editorial, and we sort of ended up with what we've got now, which is not really his vision as such, but it is what it is. So definitely read this after your Darkseid War. It really jumps straight from Darkseid War into this. Now, as far as the backstory of the characters in Three Jokers, these three books in particular really are what you would need to have read to really fully understand. So in regards to Jason Todd the Red Hood, what the Joker did to him is detailed in this book, Batman: A Death in the Family. This is where back post-crisis, people voted to get rid of Jason Todd. Okay, he was a character that back then was absolutely hated as Robin, and DC decided to put it to the people. Let them vote to see whether they wanted to keep Jason Todd or get a new Robin, or get rid of him, basically, kill him off. And everyone voted to get rid of him, basically. He was not a popular character, and that's where the whole Joker crowbar thing tied in. They killed off Jason Todd, and he did not come back for a very, very, very long time. Not until this book here, Batman Under the Red Hood, which I believe was published around 2005 or so. Let me check, could be wrong. Sorry, no, 2011, I'm way off. So in this storyline, Jason Todd comes back as the Red Hood, okay? He assumes the Joker's moniker of the Red Hood, which is what Joker, one of the origin stories of the Joker was that he was the Red Hood criminal who fell into the toxic waste, which we see in this fantastic book, The Killing Joke. And Jason Todd comes back as the Red Hood, and this is a fantastic story. It's got Doug Mahnke art throughout the majority of it, who he also did a lot of work on Final Crisis, as well as Blackest Night and Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. And yeah, this gives us all the backstory leading into Jason Todd coming back as the Red Hood. And he is the Red Hood in Three Jokers as well, though there has been a lot of character development between here and the Jason Todd that we get in the current story. Alright, now, as far as Batgirl or Barbara Gordon, everything you need to know about her basically took place in Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, of which I have, sorry, I'm going to shake it out of the slipcase, of which I have the Absolute Edition. Okay, so most people know what happened in this story. We had the Joker basically break into the Gordon's house and he cripples Barbara Gordon. Okay, now Fabok's art style in Three Jokers really matches Boland's work here in The Killing Joke, and we can see the fateful panels here where Barbara gets shot by the Joker. And this version of the Joker is one of the three that we see in the story. So if you've read all of this material, you will have pretty much everything you need to fully understand and get all the little nods and winks that you get within Three Jokers issue 1. So after the jump, we're going to have a quick look through some of the major key panels of the issue, and I'm going to give some of my thoughts. Talked about all of the pre-reading that you could do if you really, really wanted to deep dive into the story. Let's take an actual look at some panels from the book itself. I'm not going to show you every page, okay? I'm just going to go over the basics of the story. Now, this is where we jump into spoiler territory. So if you don't want this story spoiled for you and you care about spoilers, you should probably stop watching now. Go do the pre-reading, go to your LCS, buy a copy of this or pick it up digitally, however you want to read it. Support the creators, support DC. It's a fantastic story. It's worth your money. So, if you're staying with me, let's take a bit of a deep dive into the story. I'm not going to go through every aspect, but I am going to show you some panels that show some of the major hits of the book. And yeah, let's get into it. So, looking at the covers here, these are the alternate covers. We have the comedian, we have the clown, and we have the criminal. These are the three Jokers that we have so far seen within the story. The criminal is the original 1930s OG Joker that was much more calculating and much less crazy, I suppose, than the other two Jokers. In the center here we have the, this is the clown. This is the Joker that beat Jason Todd's head in. Has much more of a flair for the theatrical than the other Jokers. He's the kind of Joker that will shoot you with the acid flower, that sort of thing. And then on the left here is the comedian Joker, the killing joke Joker that we have seen in that story, the one that shot Barbara Gordon through the spine. So each of these three Jokers is featured within Three Jokers. However, this issue focuses more on the clown than the other two. So let's take a look at some images. When we jump straight into the story, we get a little bit of backstory as to each of the three main characters and their experiences with the Joker and the scars that he has left them with. So in this amazing image from Fabok here, we can see Batman's back, and we get some panels of Batman thinking about injuries that he's had from previous encounters with villains. We see Bane, we see Penguin. Penguin is the one who caused this particular injury here with his umbrella. We also see a lot of instances where the Joker has caused these scars. And we see similar sorts of situations for Jason Todd and Barbara Gordon, where they are reflecting on the damage that's been done to them by the Joker himself. This story is going to revolve around Bruce, Jason, and Barbara, as they are the three characters arguably that have had the most damage done to them by the Joker in the past. Alright, we also get a little bit of backstory as to, we get to see the murder in the alley again, and I mean, I'm a little bit like, I don't really ever need to see Bruce's parents get killed again. I feel like I've seen that in every single medium possible. However, it's drawn by Jason Fabok, it's coloured by Brad Anderson, so I can't complain. I'll take anything those guys give me. Alright, as we move through the story, I am not going to detail everything that happens, but here we can see a little bit of an interaction between two of the three Jokers. The one in the trucking hat here is the clown, and he likes to dress as other characters, as I said, the flair for the theatrical. And here we can see the comedian, which is obvious. He looks almost identical to when he shot Barbara Gordon back in The Killing Joke. He has the wide-brimmed purple hat, and he has an oversized Hawaiian-style shirt that he's taken from a victim. We get an interaction between these three Jokers. It seems like they are making some kind of plan, and the plan, of course, is led by the criminal. The criminal really is the mastermind of the three. We can see he's much more pensive, it's much more calculating, and he's sort of operating behind the scenes while the other two are out there engaging with Batman and the other characters. Again, this art by Fabok is just fantastic. Alright, jumping forward quite a lot here. This is a very big spoiler, this page. We get a lot of 9-panel grid in this book, a lot like Doomsday Clock, because again, Geoff Johns is kind of following in Alan Moore's shadow a little bit. However, he's not trying to be Alan Moore. This really is his own story. And we having and the others characters having captured the Joker, and they've got him here, but he's really where he wants to be, and he's taunting Jason. This is the Joker that beat the Jason's head in with the crowbar, and he really gets inside Jason's head here. He says some things in particular that really, if anyone was holding that gun, they would pull the trigger, especially with the shared trauma that he has with this Joker in particular. Things I love in this page, we can see here, this is one of the covers from the actual Death in the Family series, which has been recreated as a panel in here. This is, I guess, it's supposed to be Joker's memory of Jason, because it can't be Jason's memory himself, but it's a throwback to that story and links with that classic tale. Now, what happens here, again, I know I've said spoilers a few times, but if you're still watching and you really, really don't want this big spoiler, last chance, here it comes. Jason pulls the trigger and he blows this Joker away. And you can see this here, it's in gory detail. That Joker's head there's a big hole in it. And yeah, so Jason actually gets his kill. One particular thing I've noticed here that I love is the gun smoke here almost looks like Jason has the silver in his hair again that we can remember from the Red Hood and the Hush storyline featuring the Clayface version of Jason. But when he first came back, he had that silver streak in his hair, which was when he was the villain. And I like that nice little touch there. So he takes this guy out, much to Barbara's horror. And yeah, that's the big reveal of this issue. So theoretically, we're down to just 2 Jokers, but I really don't know about that. One of the covers that I've seen for future issues features the Joker from the New 52, the one with the fade cut that was in Endgame. So I would be surprised if he doesn't appear. I really don't think there'll be just 3. I think we'll see more. And the final image I want to show you is the discussion between Barbara and Jason after this, okay? Barbara tries to get on her moral high horse here and say, what have you done, Jason? Batman would never let you do this. This goes against everything we stand for. But Barbara threw a batarang to try and stop Jason. And he points out, when was the last time that you missed? Okay, Barbara really is like a surgeon with her batarangs. So for her to miss at that range, it kind of means she wanted this to happen as well. Okay, she's trying to say that she didn't, but deep down, she only knows there's one. They don't know there's more than one Joker yet. In her mind, this is the Joker that crippled her. This is the man that shot her through the spine, that put her in the wheelchair for all those years. Who could blame her for wanting Jason to do what he did? And she sort of realizes this in her heart of hearts, and she's disappointed in herself. And this is kind of where the story leaves us. There is a couple more pages, and every page is important, but these are my picks for the most basic, most important panels to have a look at. If I haven't convinced you already, please go out and buy it. Support the creators, support DC. We want more content like this. I like these one and done stories. I love the quality of the artwork and the coloring. So more like this. So let's show them that that's what we want. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in once more. Comment, subscribe if you want me to do more single issue videos in the future. I'm not a big singles reader, but when it's something as amazing as this, I'm going to read singles, and then I'm going to get the collected edition. And then, you know, if DC print that Absolute one day, I'm definitely going to pick that up as well. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.